Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have a long-awaited video on nutrition. A lot of people have been asking for a long time, asking me what I think about nutrition, how to eat, and so on. I will probably start with what I already said in the previous video, when I briefly went through nutrition. First of all, the moment of human nutrition is first of all a person's choice. And the moment of his awareness is also very important because to use or not to use some products is the moment of his awareness of his choice. So forcing someone to eat this way or that way because you think it is not right either. I was told a story about a man who was a vegetarian himself, who did not eat animal flesh, and he made his wife do the same. He was forcing her, saying, I don't eat, and then you don't either. And this poor woman, just like in school where they hid cigarettes behind garages, so she hid with Chebricks. It's a moment of such mild madness. You have to understand that the moment of eating is a conscious choice of each person. Now, I am going to tell you what I think about food. What product I think has a very negative effect on the body as a whole, on energy, and it has a colossal negative effect. I will explain how it happens on the subtle level and so on. In the last video I talked a little bit about this food. It is animal flesh. But to eat animal flesh or not to eat animal flesh is a moment of your personal choice, and it should be taken into account, because if you are not ready to recognize that moment, you are not ready to part within your diet, and you start to break yourself, to overpower yourself, and to go into the destructive position of a victim. That is not good either. If you don't succeed, if you are still attracted to the cutlets, don't think that you are bad. There will be time, and you will get there. I know people who have stopped eating animal flesh, and it was a moment of choice for them. I'll tell you from my own experience. I grew up in a family that considered meat as the second bread. My grandmother can't imagine not eating meat. She thought you could die without it. It's a whole culture. It was passed on to me from childhood, and even though I was told from childhood that I shouldn't eat it, I didn't understand it at the time. I was told in plain language what it was for, but I didn't understand. I thought I would never give up meat. I would always eat it until one day it clicked in my head. When I realized what it looked like on the subtle level, I just turned away from it. Now you and I are going to go through this, but again, there is no need to fall into sacrifice. It will be a moment of conscious choice for each individual. There are acquaintances of mine who have reached a certain level of vibration, who have been tapping away under the keys, and when they reached a certain limit, they just lost the desire to consume that product. They didn't need it. I think we're going to start with meat, and then we're going to go through the rest of the products. I was shown a moment when I was a child. It was a non-dream. I was about 11 or 12 years old. Maybe, I can't remember exactly. I saw a place that wasn't very nice. There was a line. All the people were gray and standing in a huge line to some kind of reception desk. Behind the reception desk was something that looked like a devil, and this whole administration was made up of demons. The souls in line were faceless, gray no one, like a gray mass. They would go up to this reception desk. They would be given a piece of raw meat. They would swallow it and move on, becoming part of the place. There was a boy with me, and he suggested that we walk around the place and see what was going on. He said, here, take this meat, but don't swallow it. Otherwise, you will become part of this place. I asked why I should take it, and he explained that you just have to put it in your mouth to keep it light. Otherwise, we'll be found out by the light. I was bluntly told, eat is to drown out our light. I remember that moment clearly, even more than 20 years later. The light we emit is very bright inside, so in order not to be seen, not to become gray like those people in line, we took this meat in our mouths without swallowing. And so we penetrated there. At the end of the dream, I ran out of there, ran up the wall, jumped, flew through the clouds down to my bed, and woke up. It was an astral flight, a non-dream dream. Then this boy said to me, you can't eat meat, it suppresses the spark. I did not understand at the time, but later I did. Later I learned that the energy of the soul circulates in the blood. The Bible says, You shall not eat meat with blood. And it is not about frying meat, but about not eating meat or blood. It is not the energy that is in the aura, but the pure energy of the soul, like the blood of the soul. That is why some evil people drink other people's blood, because they are drinking soul energy. This explains a lot of things, including the substance that makes them feel very euphoric. They are hacking pure soul energy, which is like a strong drug high for them. So when you eat meat, you are literally eating soul energy. These animals so are small, simple, like children. To the universe, a soul is a soul, and it makes no difference whether it is an animal or a human being. A human being is a more evolved soul, and the soul of a kitten or a cow is a child who understands a simpler state. When we take it easy in the factories of death, where many souls are sacrificed every day, we are actually taking part in a huge ritual of sacrifice. We ourselves subscribe to the idea that it is okay to devour others. And since it's okay for us to do that, it's okay for us to be devoured. It is a great process of sacrifice, and eating meat is part of it. A person who eats meat becomes saturated with the energy of death, and this destroys him and brings him down to the level of the entities that feed on us. When you eat meat, you are actually eating someone else's soul, their residual energy. This is the way to devour and vampirize someone else's energy. The spark of the soul goes out because it stops working like a nuclear reactor producing its own energy and starts taking energy from outside. For those who promote such food, it is profitable to extinguish the light of human beings. Animal flesh is poison, and when an animal is killed, the emanations of death, the corpse poison, the energy of destruction remain. In China or Japan there was an execution where a person was fed only meat for a week and he would die, whereas he would not die from apples. This is actually cannibalism. The person is participating in a sacrificial ritual where the souls of small beings are sacrificed. We get angry at the dark entities that feed on us, but we do the same thing to animals. When we accept this as the norm, we subscribe to the principle that it is acceptable to devour others. It makes no difference to the universe whether you devour a kitten, a baby, a pig, a cow, or a hen. By doing so, we become part of the food chain of the eaters. This also justifies their actions against us. If we eat others, why shouldn't they eat us? Eating meat destroys both energy and the body. It's a huge ritual, and the whole world unconsciously participates in it when they fry a cutlet at home. We take it as the norm, but it is the energy of death and pain. Eating meat destroys the spark, lowers the vibration, makes us more vulnerable to entities. There is also an example. A man who had not been sick for a long time ate a sacrificial ram, a shish kebab that was specially sacrificed for the holiday. After that he got sick. He realized that it was because he had absorbed the energy of the sacrifice, and it destroyed his immunity, broke his energy balance. Besides meat, there's also fish. Fish also lowers the vibration, affects the energy, not as much as meat, but there is a difference. If you don't eat fish for a long time and then you eat a little bit of it, you can feel how your vibration drops. I wouldn't recommend either meat or fish. It's your personal choice, but know that they affect you negatively. If you can't stop now, don't torture yourself, but ideally it's best to give it up altogether. About tea. I don't recommend black tea either. I tried different kinds of tea, but I always got sick. Maybe it is promoted by certain forces so that we drink it and poison ourselves. Green tea or carcade is better. There is willow tea. We have plenty of it in Russia. You can pick it and drink it. There are also many tea collections without black tea. You can do it that way. It is also desirable to cut down on coffee. I am not saying that it is as harmful as meat or fish, but it is also undesirable. If you are going to drink it, better natural, not instant. Eggs, this one is controversial. If the egg has not started to hatch, there is no formed soul yet. I do not feel that there is any crime or colossal damage to energy. It's everybody's business. You don't want to eat it. You don't want to eat it. It's the same with milk. In cow's milk there are no emanations of death, no residual soul energy, so if you can tolerate milk, you can consume it. About wheat, gluten, and other products, there are people who are intolerant to gluten or milk or other foods. For them, of course you can't, but if you don't have those problems, you don't have to count gluten altogether. It's an individual thing. Honey is considered a super healthy product, but there are people who are so allergic that a drop of honey can cause anaphylactic shock. That doesn't mean honey is poison for everyone. Everyone has a different personality. Diet is your personal choice. I don't see common foods except meat and fish as being so colossally harmful. Of course, you should avoid preservatives, dyes, sodas, energy drinks, fast food with its chemistry. It's all poison that destroys the body. And yes, many will say, but what about plants? They are also alive. They also have a soul. What do we have to not eat? There is an opinion that we should eat fruits without killing plants. Maybe that's ideal. But in practice, it's hard to imagine such a diet. Plants have a collective consciousness. They are part of something bigger. They have another form of existence. That doesn't mean it's okay to be barbaric. I teach my children not to break branches, not to treat plants rudely, because that is an act of violence. Even harvesting can be done with care and gratitude. We are participants in the symbiosis, not kings of nature. The whole man is the crown of creation. Position is a dark concept that imposes selfness and indifference. Nature exists for everyone, not just for us. We see vandalism everywhere, people breaking, destroying nature, using its resource sources thoughtlessly, throwing away garbage, not thinking about the future. When we do this, we are accepting that we can be treated in the same way. It's the mirror principle as we are to others, so we are to ourselves. We've gotten away from the topic of diet, but it's important to realize that everything is connected. Many people think that if they stop eating meat or give up something, they will immediately become saints. It doesn't work that way. Diet is only one factor. The household chemicals you use are also important. Try to choose natural products, no SLs, no parabens. There are affordable lines of natural cosmetics and grooming products. This will also give you an energy boost. The body will stop working to survive and will be able to rebuild energy connections. Now, a lot of people do not believe in mainstream medicine and rush to folk methods, healers, and other things. There are a lot of swindlers and charlatans who have no medical training and no basic knowledge, but they sell courses, betas, and promise to cure all diseases. Be careful, do not get involved in such nonsense. Do not believe anyone. Many have harmed themselves by washing out the microflora with enemas, taking incomprehensible drugs. If it were all necessary, would have been born with it. Turn your head. Do not rush out of the fire and into the fire. There are people who use the niche of alternative medicine to make money. They don't know anatomy or biology, but they give advice. Be careful. I just want to warn you. Back to food, there are some people who may not eat at all. I felt that I could exist on pure soul energy, that I could be autonomous. But why are we here if not to know the taste, not to feel new states? Are soul incarnates to have experiences? Knowing the taste of a tomato, a grape, that is also experience, that is also spiritual growth. To know joy, dance, art, that is the meaning of life, not to sit in the lotus position and repeat mantras. True spiritual growth is in movement, in the exaltation of life, in new impressions and experiences. The dark ones prevent the soul from developing. They put a lot of things on us from birth, and by the age of 30 many people are clogged up and can't fulfill their potential. But some people try everything, dancing, knitting, playing the guitar, and it is not bad. You learn, you get impressions. Even if you do not become a master at something, you have enriched your soul with experience. That's normal. Don't beat yourself up. Diet is part of the big picture. You should not think that you will stop eating meat and become a Buddha. But it is an important step that will help to increase energy, to remove the rough moments of sacrifice. Along with that, you can pay attention to household chemicals, what you wash your hair with, what you drink, what you eat. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been productive. Maybe next we'll talk about addiction or the evolution of the soul. We'll see what topic we record the next video on. See you all soon. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel. Become a member of my Telegram channel and discuss with like-minded people as a supporting club member.